Okay, now we're live. Holy crap! I was afraid we weren't even going to get on this morning. I overslept, and then we had some technical issues, and I don't know what the hell is going on with Skype and OBS this morning. But good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Firearms Friday, and we've got one for you. I promised we'd have one. I'm very rarely wrong about that, but I will say it has been a slow week. Been a slow week for armed self-defense, armed home defense, and this one's sad and by inference maybe a little funny. So let's take a look. See, son fatally shoots father while protecting mother in Crestview domestic dispute. This Florida man strikes again. The Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office is investigating the fatal shooting of a Crestview man by his son, who told deputies he was protecting his mother from domestic violence. Lance Wendell, 42, died Sunday evening after being shot at his home on Lake Silver Road, according to the Sheriff's Office. His 21-year-old son told deputies that it happened after his father attacked and began choking his mother following an argument over sweet tea. His mother and other witnesses confirmed the son's account. More information will be released as it becomes available. I mean, okay.
They got into an argument over sweet tea?
I'm almost 40, and my eldest is 10. 21's not too early to start having babies. It's a little young. But I gotta say, this 42-year-old man that was shot by his 21-year-old son because he was choking the boy's mother over a sweet tea. That's am I wrong? Does that not just scream Florida meth park? I mean trailer park?
Oh, no.
I mean, I hate to.
No, I don't think there were very many sober people involved in this situation.
Right. I mean, we're talking trailer park, so they're probably white people, so it's not racist, right? You can hate white people, right? You can make assumptions about white people, right?
I don't care if it is racist. Facts are facts.
Yeah, like Ron White said when they arrested him for having 7/8 of a gram of marijuana on his private jet in Florida. He said, "Look, man, I did the thing. Yeah, I'm wrong. I broke the law, whatever. But this is Florida. You had to drive by 3 meth labs and a dead hooker just to get here." Yeah. And oh man, this is one of those stories that I'm not particularly fond of this DRT. Obviously, that's a huge tragedy. This isn't just some masked bad guy broke into the house in the middle of the night and a good guy with a gun fixed it. And Rod's right. You can shoot and miss, and the choking is probably going to stop. Okay, yeah.
Ooh, but you know, it's one of the things that you learn early on. It's something that my dad told me when I was a kid. First time I ever shot a gun. So you pull it. You don't do any of that warning shot, shoot them in the leg bullshit. It is center mass.
That's right,
every
Rod.
time.
No hospital bill. No aggravated assault charge.
Oh, I wish I could see the comments. That's funny though.
Oh, he didn't say it. I'm reminding him that he said it 1,000 times before. I mean, he didn't say it in the comments here. It's one of his go-tos.
But yeah, and look, you know what's really difficult for me about this story is it's difficult to know what the right tone to strike is, because yes, the survivors of this family, I mean, lifetime of therapy. Like, okay, like, no doubt about it. But at the same time, I mean, there's definitely some gallows humor in the fact that a bunch of meth heads got into a fight over some sweet tea, and one of them got dead. And if I'm wrong for pointing that out, then I guess I'm just wrong. But I mean, and I likes me some sweet tea, but
yeah, no doubt.
I don't know that I like sweet tea enough to die for it. You know, it
Or
reminds
kill
me of the
for
thing
it.
with. It reminds me of the thing with the hounds. Are you really gonna die for some chickens? Somebody fucking is. I mean,
Ooh.
hey, it's Firearms Friday. I wanted to throw this at you. You tracking on the fact that the AG of New York is
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up because I just went quiet on air for way too long because I was grasping at, okay, I got nothing else to say about this story. Go ahead a little bit, and I'd like to talk about this.
okay.
Oh, of course, you
Sorry about
got your
that.
mouth full. New York Attorney General. Damn it. Of course, I would pull up an article that's it's only going to show me the first sentence and then ask for money. To be clear, I don't mind paying for news articles from time to time and supporting legitimate journalists. Either of them. But oh yeah, I'm not going to sit here and put in credit card information live on air. All that. New York Attorney General Letitia James' lawsuit against the National Rifle Association is an electorally based attack. Fox News article. Seth Barron rips New York AG's NRA suit as diversion attempt to distract from bad ideas of Cuomo and de Blasio. Yeah, 100%. And, okay, I'm going to read through this real quick, and then I've got a very particular point that I want to hit on this question. New York Attorney General Letitia James' lawsuit against the National Rifle Association is an electorally based attack meant to distract from New York City's rise in violent crime. City Journal Associate Editor Seth Barron told Tucker Carlson tonight. Thursday, here, I'll let y'all see the article too. This is a typical diversion attempt to blame the shootings on someone other than the bad ideas of Mayor Bill de Blasio and Governor Andrew Cuomo and the Democrat Party in the last few months. Okay, before I go on, I'm gonna criticize that statement just a little bit. Shootings should be blamed on the man who pulled the trigger, unless they're justifiable homicides, in which case they should be blamed on the man who initiated an assault, which justified the homicide. It's not that your mama didn't hug you enough. It's not because the NRA sold you a gun, because they've never sold you a gun. Get that clear real quick. The NRA never sold you a gun. And it's not an overarching culture of gun violence. No. If you die by the gun, you're either the victim of a person who committed a crime, or you are the attempted perpetrator of a crime. The person at fault when someone dies by gunfire is the person who controlled the gun or the person who initiated the assault. So, now, caveat. In New York City right now, in the wake of all the defund the police stuff, there's some outrageous, 280% spike in homicides by gun. Now, keep in mind, the homicides by gun that are happening in this massive spike are basically happening under two primary circumstances. People being shot by rioters in the BLM George Floyd violent riots, or people being shot by looters and other criminals using the Black Lives Matter riots as an excuse to get out and commit crimes, and criminals being less hesitant because of the sudden lack of deterrence to commit active crimes. So, to that degree, there is some blame to be placed on the Democrat Party, Governor Andrew Cuomo and Mayor Bill de Blasio. So,
I mean, I think you can go back and you can blame people for decades. New York has had tighter and tighter and tighter gun control over the years. It's trended in a very specific direction.
And so has their crime.
Yeah, the only time crime went down in recent history was under Rudy Giuliani's watch. And
yeah, but he's a racist because he enforced laws.
Well, and he actively increased police presence, and yes, stop and frisk was controversial, but it worked. But the point is, like, this is a test case. It's kind of like Chicago. Chicago's got really restrictive gun laws, and Chicago also has a high rate of gun homicide. Like, you just can't say that murders stop because people have less access to guns. And
now, Chicago has actually seen a mild decrease in the last couple of weeks in gun homicides. Interestingly, do you know what else has happened in Chicago? Correlation is not necessarily causation, but, well, sometimes it is. You know what the other thing that happened in Chicago recently?
Please enlighten me.
Chicago has actually increased police patrols over the last couple of weeks, and there's been a decrease in homicides, almost with a 1-to-1 correlation.
No, but cops don't prevent crimes. Cops can only respond to crimes.
That's actually true, sort of, technically. And that's a whole nother conversation. Let's dig back into this a bit. James's lawsuit accused the NRA of having a culture of self-dealing. What the hell is that? Okay. A culture of self-dealing. Now we know that James is full of shit. Now we know that Letitia James is full of shit. A culture of self-dealing. What did I say, Cameron? Over the whole Russia collusion thing. They kept using that word collusion, and nobody ever wanted to say conspiracy to defraud, because the thing that they were actually suggesting is that Donald Trump committed the crime of conspiracy to defraud, but nobody ever wanted to use those words. And why is that? Because if you know, damn it, pop-ups. Because if you allege a crime and then it can be proved that you knowingly made a false accusation, that's a crime. That's why the headlines, that's why the Democrats and the press kept saying collusion. Because there's no crime called collusion. They picked a word that kind of means the same thing as the crime that they wanted to accuse him of, but since they knew damn well that he didn't commit the crime and therefore there was no evidence to prove the crime, they never accused him of the actual crime. They just implied that crime using language that didn't technically qualify as the legal language of conspiracy to defraud. They just kept saying collusion, collusion, collusion.
Yes. So that's self-dealing.
A culture of self-dealing. And Alex McDonald just mentioned LaPierre had a $1.5 million clothing budget. I LaPierre may have been a total crook. That may be the case. But that's not the point here, because this AG is not going after LaPierre for anything. This AG is suing the NRA. I'm going to get to that in just a minute, too. This is absolute horseshit. If she wanted to actually accuse somebody of a crime, that's a different thing. But here, she's filing a lawsuit. She's taking an actual legal action in which she's using this language, a culture of self-dealing. She doesn't want to allege an actual crime, because then she will be guilty of a crime when it's proved that she's knowingly, erroneously alleging a crime. Right?
Well, but look, take that clothing budget as an example. I mean, is anybody like unaware of the fact that the NRA tries to take care of its members, and being a higher up in the NRA comes with perks? Like, we are talking about an organization that has millions of dollars flow through it every year. It's not like these things were hidden or lied about. Oh, okay, so he's got $1 million clothing budget, because every time he goes on TV, he wears a brand new $10,000 suit, because he's got to maintain a certain image with regard to responsible gun ownership, because that's what the NRA really is all about. It's I don't always agree with things that the NRA says and does, but
yeah, because let's not forget the gun control that we have currently, the licensing, the ridiculous background checks, all that aconstitutional horseshit, even the Brady bill. The NRA had a hand in all of that. And I'm a lifetime member of the NRA. I've been very disappointed with some of the things that they've done, but we don't have a legitimate current alternative. There are some local alternatives. Georgia Concealed Carry is a solid organization. I've given them some money. I've done a little bit with them, and I'd like to do more with them, in fact. But at the national level, the NRA is just about it.
Well, and what I was getting at is they are, their main message is responsible gun ownership, gun safety, all these sorts of things. They encourage you to go get your concealed carry permit and keep your gun in good order. And it's part of why, like, the whole thing with Philando Castile, and people were like, well, how come the NRA didn't come to his defense? Well, the NRA did not come to his defense because
he was a criminal.
Well, hold on, buddy. The NRA didn't come to his defense because he had marijuana in the car. And one of the things that the NRA preaches is you only handle firearms when you're sober. So they stayed away from it. The guy's race had nothing to do with it. It had to do with the fact that their image is all about safety and responsibility. Yes, owning a gun is a right, but it's one of those rights that's actually also, it's a real privilege. I mean, thank God that we've got these fantastic equalizers. It's the old joke that God created man and Sam Colt made him equal. So
yeah.
So what? I mean, okay, fine. If you could become a higher up muckety muck with the NRA, there's tons of perks. Well, okay, if you can name one organization that the head of does not enjoy lavish benefits. Just one, especially one that big.
Oh, well, with that caveat, I was going to say the Brushfire Mind doesn't pay me very well.
But I mean, that's kind of my point. Like, okay, so he's got $1 million clothing budget. If that's really the worst thing you can find on the NRA, that's actually pretty good.
Well, more importantly, she's saying that. Well, more importantly, in this case, and this just goes to it being an obvious distraction tactic, just utter bullshit. This woman is suing and demanding that the NRA be disbanded because she can accuse this one guy and a handful of others maybe of abusing their financial authority. We almost lost you there, but it looks like I got you back.
Almost.
So
I think it was just a bad handshake.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, what I was saying, Cameron, is the fact that she's filing a suit. She's not going after LaPierre with any accusation. She's making an accusation, but she's going after the organization and demanding that the organization be disbanded. I bet you, if I was to sniff just a little bit, just a tiny little bit, I could find some corruption in, I don't know, Andrew Cuomo's office. And therefore, we should dissolve the government of New York?
Well, let's be real clear about what this is. And this should be illustrative. And I mean exactly what I say as I am about to say it. What's really happening here is a leftist has decided that it is time for an organization that has the wrong think to no longer exist. And she is willing to leverage the power of the state to make its continued existence problematic, at least. And if she got her druthers, she would destroy the NRA. And please believe it won't stop with the NRA. I mean, you'll see the Fraternal Order of Police. You'll see all sorts of Christian associations. Those are going to have to go. But that's what this is. The NRA has the wrong think. And, well, buddy, it's time for a struggle session.
Yep. And Alex says they'll find a lot of fraud in the NRA because we, the actual members, found a lot of fraud in the NRA. Yeah, you're not wrong. Been fighting them for 2 years now, and we've had a lot of conversations on this show about the problems that we have with the NRA. But I mean,
well, then charge the actual fraudsters. I'm okay with that.
I agree. But this idea, it's like.
But I mean, come on, you found some fraud in a lobbying group? Well, no shit. Really? When you mix politics and money and you run it through K Street, there's fraud? You don't say.
Yeah. So, I guess my real main takeaway here is quite simply this bitch Letitia James. Now there's a criminal. Because this is a state's attorney general filing a fraudulent, frivolous lawsuit. Honestly, the way I hope this goes down, no matter what Wayne LaPierre has done, because when you're making your accusations about the man's clothing allowance, it could be a $200 million annual clothing allowance. I bet you if you follow the paper trail on it, it's technically a legitimate expenditure, right? Because we're talking about a private organization that's privately funded. Now, I'm not saying that that's a reasonable expenditure, but under the law, there's a difference between legitimate and reasonable. So, $1.5 million clothing allowance, does that seem like a little much to me? Absolutely. In fact, it seems like an infuriating much to me. But at the same time, if that's your go-to, I strongly doubt the evidence that you generate to support that claim is going to show anything other than the organization was fiscally irresponsible but legitimately and above board made a fiscally irresponsible choice. But then on top of that, if the accusation is that the organization is corrupt, and that's how LaPierre got his clothing allowance. What? And your idea is that the man at the top is corrupt, therefore dissolve the organization. That's asinine.
Well, and you know what's really telling to me? She didn't sue NAMBLA. Now, you want to talk about a corrupt organization that is self-serving to the detriment of society? Yeah, NAMBLA. Sue that.
Alex mentions, but buying his home with nonprofit money was clearly illegal. I don't know the details on that one. It is possible for the nonprofit to purchase his home as part of a compensation package legally. That statement does not mean that in the case of this nonprofit buying his home, it was done legally. Those are two different that it happened does not make it a crime, but that it can be done without being a crime does not mean there was not a crime committed. I don't know enough about that situation, and I'm not going to research it while we're live.
Yeah, and besides, maybe LaPierre should go to jail. I'm perfectly comfortable with that.
But that's a hell of a long stretch from dissolve the NRA.
Yeah, and okay, if we're going to start attacking lobbying groups, I mean, good grief. So pretty much all of them? I mean, again, I go back to give me one lobbying firm that's not going to have similar things associated with it. I mean, it's one of the reasons why you want a job on K Street. You get stupendously rich and you get to virtue signal for a cause. And I'm not saying that because of that it makes it okay for Wayne LaPierre to do it, but golly, this is a target-rich environment if this is the attitude we're going to have. And it seems you're pretty deliberately directing your fire in one direction. I'd even go so far as to say that this is meant to be openly antagonistic. Like this is a hostile move. She's going to fundraise on this. I can already hear the commercials that Letitia has
bravely fought the NRA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just like I heard a campaign ad for Paul Howard a couple of days ago, and it was part of the campaign ad that Paul Howard arrested and charged the officers who shot Rayshard Brooks. And this is going to be the same thing. Absolutely. Whoa, fuckstick! It's a parking lot. Sorry, not you.
I don't mean to get down the path on Rayshard Brooks, but let's be very clear: the firing and charging of Officer Rolfe was not just incorrect; it was an actual crime. It was a crime to charge him in that case.
So yeah, if you want to go after somebody for doing something illegal, fine, go after somebody for doing something illegal. But this is wrongthink, and we're going to destroy it. And I'm going to use it as a campaign tactic. And I'm about to have to go, but one thing I wanted to mention in this context is that Tim Pool put out a tweet recently where he said, just 6 months ago, I was anti having a gun in my house. Now I have multiple. I mean,
yes.
I hope this just means that we continue to see things like that happen. Oh, buddy, I have to do the work thing. I'm sorry to do it like this, but it's...
Nope, I understand. We'll
All right, bye.
we'll catch you later, brother.